This is Jennifer Innes. I am the co-author of the book The Beginning of Whit, also written by Andrew Grace, and I read a part of this book for the Athens Writers Association Writers Read event that happened February 1st, or today. And even though I prepared what I was going to read it many times alone, and felt confident, once on stage, it was much scarier. It's always scarier on stage. My legs just shaking so bad while I'm standing there, and I tried to, control my breathing, control how fast I was speaking, and still give the piece the right emphasis in the right parts and the voice to the characters and stuff. But reading to myself, it's much easier. So I was going to do a quick recording of me reading it here to show how awesome it could have been if I wasn't so freaked out all the time in front of people. Alright, so let's get to the beginning. So The Beginning of Whit is the first book in a new comedic urban fantasy series. The book introduces us to Whit Claiborne, a fledgling demon hunter. It also introduces us to Big City, the locale that Whit has been assigned to, which happens to be a supernatural haven, where at least half of the population are supernatural creatures. Whit is not your average demon hunter. He's not even your below average demon hunter, but that's not stopping him from following his dreams of being the best demon hunter ever. Whit has one of the biggest hearts in Big City, but is also the biggest target, since he is oblivious to the supernatural creatures that surround him. In the chapter I'm reading from, Whit has just been ditched by his date at a local restaurant called Gabby's Diner. Determining who is a werecat is the toughest part of dealing with this creature. When in human form, it takes a keen eye to spot a werecat, as they will only have small hints to their true identity. When in cat form, it takes a keen eye to spot a werecat, as most appear as normal house cats. When an individual can spot a cat and a human that look similar, but are never in the same place at the same time, they probably have found a werecat. Whit hung his head and put his milkshake straw in his mouth. He started drinking the cool but quickly melting liquid, his hand reaching for another wad of double-fried fries with extra toppings. He assumed the rest of his meal would be lonely, but then an unfamiliar yet friendly face plopped down across from him. An Amazon of a woman with dark tribal markings all over her tan skin and sporting a burnt orange mohawk smiled at him. "Hi, I'm Gabby." "As in the Gabby's Diner, Gabby?" "The one and only." She stretched her long arms above her head and her long legs under the table. "Wow, you're the first real famous person I've met." "Famous? I wouldn't say that. And you were just sitting with that newscaster?" "Oh, Chastity? Yeah, I guess she's kind of famous," Whit shrugged. "Well, flattery aside, I just wanted to ask you some questions about your dining experience." Gabby extracted a paper from the back of her dark jeans and pulled a pen from the strap of her magenta tank top. "As you can see, we're kind of running low on customers, and I wanted to get some feedback to figure out how to make this place more attractive to outsiders." "Sure." Whit loved filling out surveys. "Okay, first question. Would you say that the cat hair adds or subtracts from your meal?" Whit thought a moment. "I didn't notice any cat hair." "That's good." Gabby scribbled some notes on her paper and looked back up at Whit. "Do you think the catnip, as an herb, adds or detracts from the food you've eaten today?" "I didn't notice any of that either, but I guess it must add, because I think this food is great." Gabby nodded and then wrote some more notes. Whit noticed that her pupils seemed to get larger and smaller as she looked up and down from the paper and back to him. It was as if the small difference in light had a great effect on her eyes. "What are your opinions of the decor?" Gabby asked as she put the end of the pen in her mouth and began to chew on it. "I think it's really festive." "We've heard some complaints that the shiny objects are distracting." "I don't think so. I think they really glam the place up. So many places in this neighborhood are dark and dreary. I think Gabby's really brightens up the evening experience." "See, that's what I thought, but I can't figure out why our patronage is so low." Gabby finished her notes and put the paper back into her pocket. "I'm sure if you can get people in the door, they would be certain to come again," Whit offered. "Really?" She paused a moment, as if thinking, and then slyly pulled the paper back out of her pocket. "Okay, last question. How would you get people in the door?" "I do weekly specials. People really like deals. If they think they are saving a buck, they'll eat almost anything. Also, I think you need to be more passionate and explorative with food. Sure, anyone can serve a pre-made salad in a plastic container, but Gabby should be about the entire food experience. You've already got the wonderful decor. Why not have bright and exciting foods to match the atmosphere? One way would be to have some more specialized burgers. I mean, I don't know where you got the idea of the Chewy burger from, but more crazy good burgers like that. Oh, the Chewy burger is handcrafted by our cook Chewy. Chewy is a funny name, Whit laughed. It's more like a nickname. She's the Chewbacca to my Han Solo. And she likes to chew on things. I see. Is Gabby a nickname? My full name is Gabrielle. Oh. And I like to talk a lot, Gabby shrugged. I'd love to meet Chewy sometime, Whit said. She's probably been listening to this conversation ever since it started. Gabby pointed to the large and open window that led back to the kitchen, and sure enough there stood Chewy, staring at them intently. Whit wasn't sure how well Chewy could watch them, as she sported an eye patch and therefore only had one eye to see them with. Whit wondered if she moonlighted as a pirate, or if she had been a pirate and was now retired from that profession, as clearly in Whit's worldview only pirates wore eye patches. Either way, she was currently staring at them with an odd look on her face. Maybe she was annoyed or embarrassed, or based on the white streak that stood out against her graying brown hair, had seen a ghost, but the deep pink of her cheeks, instead of a shocked pale complexion, suggested the final option was probably unlikely. Whit leaned towards Gabby and whispered, "Why is Chewy watching us?" Gabby turned to Chewy and yelled, "Because she likes to be in everyone else's business. You got something to say to me?" Chewy yelled back. "Yeah, I've got something to say to you." Gabby jumped up, her mohawk seemingly standing higher than before. In a few quick strides, she burst through the kitchen doors, and we could hear the fighting. In short, it entailed lots of hissing, and then random exclamations of, "I'm going to punch you in the mouth," and, "No, I'm going to punch you in the mouth." Shortly thereafter, Gabby returned, patting down her mohawk. "Sorry about that. We just don't get along well sometimes." "Then why do you have a restaurant together?" Whit asked. "We can be the best of friends, but other times when she looks at me just right, I want to—" Gabby paused, shaking her fist in the air. "Punch her in the mouth?" Whit offered. "Yeah, but we go way back. We had the same foster mom, and she'd be upset if we weren't still acting like family. Frankly, though, Chewy and I can't really think of life without each other." Gabby sighed, and seemed to fall into a moment of remembrance. Whit stared out the window, watching a boy and his mother walking past. The boy was pointing at Gabby through the window. The mother asked where. The boy said cat. They did this several times as they crossed the window near Whit. The words where and cat stuck in his head. "Anyways," Gabby began again, "is it okay with you if I make a burger named after you?" "Sure," Whit beamed. He always knew he'd be famous, but very few people were burger famous. The end. Thank you. Anyways, so there it is. Much easier to read, not with an audience, but that's it.